Welcome to a new episode of Not Just Hair by
Academy of Hair.
There you go. Who's sitting next to me, Joakim Roos, and he's one of the famous artists around the world. I'm super excited to be here with him, and in styling, in cutting, and it's a huge talent. So I'm happy to be here with you, my friend.
And obviously, what can I possibly not say about my dear friend Yolly? We've been partners in crime, as she said, for a very long time. And if anybody knows the ins and outs of fashion and trend and capitalizing that for collections, for everyone to see and to truly learn from, she's a mesmerizing talent when it comes to it. So it's a good give and take between the two of us. So I'm really happy and proud to have you.
We do good together.
Absolutely. Why don't we?
Because let's talk about, man, how did we get into the hairstyling?
How did we get into hairstyling? Oh gosh, where do we even start? It's so many fun things that actually happens. I started very young. We've known each other for a very long time, but I started extremely young. I was 9 when I started because my mom was in fashion, right? Mm-hmm. And so I got into the whole idea of trends and ideas and fashion, creativity, colors and everything very early on because of my mother. And but something drew differently. Clothing is fun, fashion is fun, but I think also hair was more, how should we say, instant gratification. Mm-hmm. Simply because you cut off a piece and you change forms, you create shapes. And that's really how I got into the whole aspect of it, because it was fun, it was creative, it was different.
Yeah,
you know.
Cool.
How was it for you?
Yeah, for me it was different. I was young too, actually, because I was also, as a kid, my grandma had the salon, my mom worked as a hairdresser, my uncle as a hairdresser. So I was walking around there, and of course, as a little kid, you don't want to do the same thing as what your mom did. I didn't. But I was hanging out in the salon, and later on when I got older, I was kind of cool. I really liked it, enjoyed it, and then at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I think I need to do something like this too. So I was 15 when I started with my uncle in the salon and helping out with shampooing and really see what was going on. And that's where it started. And then it started hitting me.
It's so interesting listening and talking about these things, because we all get inspired and get into certain things from so many aspects. My mom, besides being in fashion, was really into theaters and all of that kind of stuff. So what I saw from stage plays and the costumes and everything was like, everything was just beautiful. Cool. So for me in the beginning, it didn't really matter if it was hair, clothing, makeup. It was just the aspect of prettiness, beauty, cool things, creativity. Where it would take me, I didn't really know in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I had a similar thing, because I was like in the salon. I'd like to do that. I love hair, I love the art, and that's really cool. Yeah. However, I don't want to stand behind the chair all day long or something, but I really like the aspect to change people, to make them really happy. Yeah. And I really was drawn to, like, with the magazines, with the fashion. I was like, fuck, this is great, you know, with and
as you can see already, at that age, she talks about fashion. So you see why she's really the head of fashion in this industry, I tell you.
That was really cool, yeah. So that's actually how we started. Yes. And then, how did we meet? I know when we meet and how we meet.
I think we can both say that together. Where was it?
Room number
312.
312. That was
at the end of the hallway. This was a little room for Pivot Point to keep their mannequins stashed and to try out things. Yeah. And that's where we ended up.
That's where we were. Yeah, how long we were in the industry. We were. So because then at a certain point, because before I was I was working in the salon, and I needed a little bit more to teach people, because I really love to I became a manager and teach people. Yeah. That's how I got involved with Pivot Point. Like, hey, I need to have some tools that I can really explain people how to do hair. Yeah. That's how I got into Pivot Point. How did you get into
I got
Pivot Point?
Into the whole thing actually because the person that I was working with in the salon, she was one of the main educators for Pivot Point at the time.
Okay.
And so I was part of doing all the shows, all the classes, the exhibitions. So I was introduced to this world extremely early on. And then she was the one to push me to actually go to school to get a proper education on paper and everything. And through all of this and through her knowledge of Pivot Point, I was just curious, what is it and where is it? I heard about Chicago, and I needed to just go there and try out, see what it was and see what it would do for me.
Yeah, it gave me also the aha moment when I got my first training in Holland. Like, oh, I was there and I was like, now I really know what to do. And but then also with the crew there, you know, in Holland was really cool. So I really got into it and trained there, and also went over to Chicago. We both did. We started working on the school, and then after that we met each other. You were right on the point to go to China.
I was right on the point to go to China. Yeah, we did a lot of different things. That was really cool. And I think the whole point is like that was such a turning point, as you mentioned. Going from being in the salon, being the associate, the student, to like becoming a new era of your life, of teaching, training, being more in, it was really cool. It was so overwhelmingly interesting, and you got so many opportunities.
And remember that from the day one that we hit it off right away, that we could really kind of feel each other and add on. Remember, you had to have that curriculum for China. You were going on the other side of the world, and you didn't know. It was very exciting, and we like boom, boom, boom. We started playing off with each other.
So many cool possibilities and opportunities. I was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So for you, Yolly, I have a wonderful question for you.
Oh, really?
What have changed actually since that moment we started our careers in Pivot Point or in Chicago?
In Chicago, what changed? Well, it was definitely to explore the world and to see the different cultures and work with the different. We did, because I was in a salon behind the chair in Holland, and yes, you got some clients, you know, from different areas, but then to really travel to a different part of the world and to teach there with a total different culture, and certain things I wasn't prepared at all, you know. So then I came in another country, and people are just getting your information different. Well, even
would you say that was actually the bigger challenge? Was it the hair? Was it adaptation to culture and indifferences?
More that.
More that?
The culture thing, the way of teaching, because man, like in America, they love it. You can be outrageous and fun and sing, and that's how they want to see stuff, right? And in Holland, if you do that too much, you're like, hold on a minute. You show first some technique, girlfriend, before we applaud you. And that is, in America, it's so different. Well, and then in Japan, everybody's just sitting quietly, and you really need to be strict on that and work with an interpreter. So that whole thing, that was a main difference. And of course the hair, but in Holland we have a lot of different cultures hair-wise. So I was used to that a little bit more already. It was really like traveling the world and teach different, because people also learn in a different manner.
Exactly.
And that's what I really enjoyed and explored,
And that's for me is also part of the true challenge, and makes the whole traveling aspect truly, truly interesting and fun. And I think I had my first, as you said, in Holland you have a lot of variety and a lot of difference. In Sweden we didn't at the time. So when I first moved to Chicago to be head of teaching texture, chemical reformation on black hair, in which we did not have that much in Sweden, was a big revolution. All of a sudden it opened up for way more inspirational and possibilities, I think. And then dealing with, as you said, Asian hair or this type of different textures, really, oh my God, the possibilities you got from it, and creative.
That's true,
and also not only culture-wise, but the fashion input of how people perceive beauty and trends different in different places because of cultural backgrounds and stuff. Really was quite inspiring, and that we learned a lot from it, that's for sure.
And even how you say it, because you were talking about black hair, remember? When we say that in America, black hair, you could say that. And we're like, why not? In Holland, it's black hair, you know, but
it was a lot of things one had to learn that was outside of the actual profession. Very interesting.
Well, let's see, a good question for you. Let's say, what part of your personality doesn't show on social media?
Oh, that is a good question. Actually, my whole private life.
How good are we on social media? We're not so good.
Not super good on social media, but everything that I do post on social media is all work related.
Yeah,
and I think work related thing it's difficult because I don't think for me that there is much of a difference between my personal me and my work me, because our work is our life, it's a lifestyle, it's a choice and a way of living between traveling, the trends, fashion. And the thing is, it's not a job and then you have an off time. You constantly are part of the fashion scene, you constantly are part of the artistic aspect of things. So the difference between them is not really that great. How about for you? I don't think so. No.
I doubt it. We're both not so good at it. So to be there, so a lot of times, always when we do like big shows or stuff, and when people post it and then we repost it, but to really show off, a lot of things about my personal life, my cat you see so now and then, and that's about it.
Hey, we know more about the cat than husband.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. That's for sure. Yeah.
So why did we become so good together, dear? Since we started in room 312, what do you think?
Yeah, we really because we hit off, personally, and that's a good thing. And but also we really look like what I said from day one. It was like okay, we can fill in on each other's things.
We fill in and we build on each other. Yeah. You have an idea, I add on to it, and vice versa. And sometimes you have more ideas, sometimes I have. And I think that collaboration is unique and it's tremendously fun.
I think so. And to feel safe, because remember, when we're on stage, I know if I try something out, I know you're there to cover me, so I can try whatever.
Which means you open up for way more creativity sometimes because you trust each other.
Because then you're there. You're there to do more. If you're on your own, you have to be specific. If something goes wrong, you have nobody to cover up, for you. And that's what we have with each other. And I think that's a good thing.
So when I'm not working there, okay, what am I really like, you think? Do we ever stop working?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're always working. Brain is always functioning.
Talking about that, Or otherwise, then it's a lot about cooking, right?
It is. Oh yeah, that's true though.
Then it's a lot about cooking.
That is true though. That's the secret behind.
And we love the cooking, but the thing what is opposite of us is
I'm a vegan.
You're vegan, and I'm so not.
She's the carnivore. Mm-hmm.
I'm the carnivore, not a little bit. So I love the meat and my eggs and my cheese. And
so in ways of being completely opposite, which is another one of our questions. Yeah, I think that is one main thing.
That's one main thing that we're totally opposite, and for the rest is not that much opposite.
No, otherwise we're pretty much the same. Yeah. What can we say? Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest challenge for you being a global artist traveling around the world?
A challenge? Yeah.
Is there any challenge?
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking actually. I really have to think.
I think it ties back a little bit to the question. I think of it, what has changed since we first started? Because there was a lot of challenges, I think, in the beginning of a career, being a global artist, learning things.
You know what? I had even in the beginning, especially a little bit more towards Asia, that for me as a woman, that was different because with you and with Patrick and all other people from Pivot Point, it was like, if it's a European guy who was going there, it was fine. Yes. And then it was like Yolly, and then on the name, they didn't know. No. If a man or a woman knows, it's a woman, can she do the job? Yeah. That was so weird in the beginning, and that was a challenge. And then I was really like, I really have to step up my game and show them that I can also do it. Yeah. That was really then, it's not anymore. That was a
challenge because I think you tried to express that many times, but none of us ever really believed it because we never faced any issues with anything.
No, especially European. To be European and a man, that was great.
Yeah, that was like the highlight, and everything worked in flawlessly in that sense.
That's weird, right? Really thank God that changed. And and we are in the business a little bit longer, so you get a little bit secure. But in the beginning, it's kind of like and then you. That was another good challenge. What I still love my thoughts. There was one of the first time I went to Taiwan, so it was really the opposite side of the world. I was doing a teacher training there, And I was like, it was an advanced training, and I came there and I had really intricate haircuts and with the razor, but they didn't work that much with the razor. So I was asking them, like, are you guys good with the razor? And they're all nodding, yes. And I was great. So I was doing razoring techniques. They didn't even know how to hold their razor. And I was like, how can that be? And I didn't get it. But later on, then that time, then Michael told me, like Rika from there, like, they don't want to lose face. So they would never say, we don't understand. We never did it. So, and in Holland, people was like, hey, woman, I have no idea what you're talking about. Tell me. But over there, they didn't. So they were like, oh, yes. They had no clue how to do it. So then I had to change the way of teaching. Like, okay, I know you guys know how to do it. Let's now pretend you're a student. And if I would teach a student, I would do A, B, C, and let's try this. And then I got them with me. So that was a challenge. So it was such a learning experience for myself, though.
Yeah, and the same, going back to Asia, same thing. You had in Taiwan, I had in China, where it's like they wanted creative European cool flavors. So that's exactly what I ended up doing. And I had 75 people leave the room. And I didn't understand why. So I was asking the teachers, the trainers, the owners of the school, and then I looked outside the window, and what I found was that everybody went from class or the salon, put a big helmet on their head, because 80% of the population was driving scooters. So doing big poofy cool hair obviously wasn't very functional. So until I learned those little issues, I'm like, okay, I need to change mentality here a little bit. Those kind of things, but also using references like what we are used to maybe here. It's like, Madonna is a cool reference. So that one, like pop stars and whatever. But in China, 20, 30 years ago, they had no idea, because it was a very secluded country. So it's like, whoa, how do I express ambiance, changes, difference if I cannot add these flavors? So it's like, again, learning to teach, learning to use your creative mind in a completely different way was, at the time, I think would be challenging and frustrating, but now it's like, wow, I'm so happy that I went through that, because all of a sudden your mind is no longer stuck. If someone tells you to go and go in a different direction, then that's what we do.
Learn, and sometimes when challenges happen, it makes you creative. And that's actually another question that I have for you, like Joakim, like what happens if you got creatively blocked?
Well, if I got creatively blocked, it's actually an excellent question, because I think instead of seeing creative blockage as a problem, look at it as what is the essence and build on that essence and see it. We all see it from a different point of view. I see it more as a wall. Do I choose to get stuck in the wall, climb over the wall, or go around the wall? There's always options. But how do I choose to behave when I'm faced with this issue?
What could happen? Remember in China, when we were together in China, we had to do so many haircuts. At a certain point, we just start somewhere, create a problem
you just
to become creative.
Cut off a piece. And you do this in front of 500 people. That's the key thing here. So that makes you have no choice than to be creative about it. Right? So snip, okay. And sometimes we snip each other's mail. Okay, go do something. But that kind of pushes you. And the moment you dare to push your own limits, and step outside of your own comfort zone, that really opens up.
It's a little scary, but however...
It's horrifyingly scary. I can't deny that. But it's so good, and it's so
But it's fun, right?
Because the thing is, you don't know what's going to come out of it.
You don't. And we always try to also, when we do the teaching, that we also try to have people step out of their comfort zone.
And I think the most important thing there is those blockages comes when you stop being playful and you are afraid of what is going to be the result. The moment you let go of the fear, the blockage also disappears quite a bit.
It's the same, the fear with, like with language. In the beginning, I'm from Holland, so, I had to teach in America, and then in English, and certain words, I was like, till sometime, and I never forget, it was in Pocatello, Idaho, that one woman told me, I would say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know how to write this, or maybe I pronounce it wrong, and she's like, woman, let it go. You can teach in different languages, and we only speak one. So let it go. And I let go my fear, and that opens up. And that's exactly the same with creativity, right?
100%.
Let it just 100%. Go, and then things opening up. That's
so talking about overcoming blockages, overcoming things, learning by challenging, learning by doing, basically. So One question that comes up here that is really fascinating. What have we, starting with you, learned from each other that really changed the way we see and changed the way of industry?
What do we learn from each other? From you, most of it, what I learned.
She hasn't actually learned anything. That's what she
Yes,
said.
I
Just
do.
kidding.
Yeah, but it goes so into you, like, oh, okay, that's cool, and maybe to calm down a little bit more at rest, because I can be all over the place, and then the people like, oh my God, where's that woman going? And I go left, right, and you are, so that's good. So you even me out a little bit more on that part.
Very, very
balance each other out.
Yeah, but for me, from her, learning a huge thing, and that took a while because I'm very, how should we say, analytical in many aspects. I've done competition for many, many years, which means I'm actually calculating strand by strand, perfection. And Yolly has a tendency to look at the helicopter view, the bigger picture. So once you see the bigger picture, it's like, okay, where, just for fashion, for instance, is my biggest draw from this, what I've learned from you is like, okay, I saw fashion as colors, print. It was very mechanical, inspiring, where you looked at society, fundings, money, what is economic changes coming, if there is a catastrophe here, what does it do, and how does fashion thinking pattern influences all of these different things. And it's like just analyzing, not only to create collections, but analyzing what is happening around you on a more social, financial, economic, creative scale really taught me how to analyze, maybe this is going this way, then I can do that because of. There was always a better reason for how to see how everything was moving and changing in the industry in whole. And I think that really made a big impact.
And that's always fun, how we bounce off if I'm in my helicopter view with all my ideas all over.
So then I usually say, Yolly, come back to Earth.
And then you come back, and then I come back, and then you start like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this technique, and then we can just bounce off, and
that's really
it's a fun part.
We constantly say it's not what I have learned, is what we're still learning and still doing, right? That's a cool part.
Cool, I love that part. Me.
I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to point. Look at the gray, look at the color. I'm telling you, that says everything.
Actually, in clothes, not in hair, because with my hair,
same.
With my hair, it's like the orange, and everybody laughs. But hey, it's my trademark. So, but with clothes and stuff, yes,
for sure. Me, I'm very neutral in that sense, but I was more different with my hair color than you, because I've been black, I've been gray, I've been white, I've been dreads. I had different things. She didn't. I think we're pretty much similar.
I think,
analyzing what could be done better, what could be done. I wouldn't say that, but more self-critical.
Yeah, we both have the same
really
thing.
Stepping up to the challenge.
After a class, it's always then something. We could do this better, that better, or it's not. Yeah, it's not like we should not really regret, but to build on to the next year.
That's it. Both anal retentive.
Oh God, yeah.
But in different ways. I can be very distinct, picky about hair stuff because of my competition background and detailing.
On that part,
and you are much more in other things.
Yeah. We both.
We both have.
But like I said, we have a lot the same.
Slight touch of OCD, though. Yes.
I think me.
Definitely you. I would be more perfecting certain things, but she would set the trend. Yes.
We never arrive late, and we always look flawless.
because in this world, honey, arriving late is to make a good entrance. Point taken. There you go. Both. Hey, but really, if we are really busy, then we actually don't eat and we just snack along the day. But then, then we can just devour things at the end of the day.
Improvising, absolutely, both.
Both of us, because that's, as we said in Asia, we were forced to snip off a piece of hair to come up with a construction. So if that's not improvisation, what is it? So that's how we learn. So I thought I would say both.
I know it's sometimes scary. We can finish each other's sentence. So that's why this is a difficult game to do with us if we really have to choose like one or the other.
We hit it off since day one, and it still goes on, right? Yes.
This was Not Just Hair by
Academy of Hair.